Welcome to Ghostly.
Is the Hope Diamond cursed?
Prepare to shiver. Ghostly is your bi-weekly dose of paranormal. We unearth chilling ghost stories and examine the evidence with a critical eye. Rebecca hunts down the legends, while I, your friendly neighborhood skeptic, poke holes in her theories. In the end, you, the listener, get to decide, is it genuine haunting or just entirely nonsense? Click the subscribe or follow button to always be in the loop of new tales to come. As always, we're your host. I'm Pat.
And I'm Rebecca.
So we are going to be talking about the Hope Diamond today.
Yes, very famous.
Yeah, you know, I only heard about it as the Hope Diamond. I didn't know anything about its history. Did you?
I mean, oh yeah. I mean, when you said a few weeks ago, you know, let's do some cursed objects.
Yeah.
My first thought was the Hope Diamond.
Wow.
So it's
first thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a kid, I read some stories about it, and I've certainly, you know, heard things and seen things. So it was interesting to do the research and kind of see all the different people over the years.
Yeah. And spoiler alert, there's a lot of French names in here that I will not be able to pronounce. So if you like to laugh, that would be your time. I give you special permission to laugh at all of my mispronunciations as the Southsider here.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so let's just get into it. This is the time when we would do shout-outs on Ghostly. There are two ways to get a shout-out. The first way is to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. We haven't had one of those in a while, but we always like those 5-star reviews. But, you know, we're going to read any and all reviews that we receive so that we can go over it with a critical eye as well.
Absolutely. And it's a really helpful way for people to find us.
Absolutely. You know, if you want to give back to Ghostly and you don't want to spend any money, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And I know not everyone has Apple.
But some of the other ones have reviews, and
unfortunately, we have no way of tracking that.
We don't, but we still appreciate.
We do always appreciate
the stars.
Always appreciate it. The second way is to become a member on Patreon. Just go to ghostlypodcast.com and click on Patreon in the menu bar. We have a lot of different tiers to choose from, and there's going to be a lot more coming in the year for our Patreon people. And I actually have somebody this time to give a shout out to. His name is Travis. So
welcome, Travis.
He's a brand new patron on Patreon.
There you go.
That is hard to say.
You said that well.
Say that 10 times fast. So yeah, welcome, Travis. We really appreciate your help. So here is the time when we would do listener mail. Do we have any?
We do not have any listener mail, so we'd love to hear from you guys. If you have any ghost stories that have happened to you, someone you know, or something that you thought might be haunted, but maybe you're not sure, definitely reach out and let us know. You can email us at info@ghostlypodcast.com, or just use the contact us form on ghostlypodcast.com, or DM us on the socials. We're out there at Ghostly Podcast.
I'd also like to add one more way that we would read it on the air is if you have an experience with something that we talk about in an episode, and any way that means to you, you can go ahead and send that in to the same thing, info@ghostlypodcast.com. Rebecca didn't mention one of our favorite ways to get ghost stories is in the actual mail. So you can send that to P.O. Box number 264, Geneva, Illinois, 60134.
Yes. And you can find all of that at ghostlypodcast.com on the bottom of the page if you don't remember.
Yeah, in the footer area. That's what the cool kids call it.
Yes.
All right. Do the cool kids really call it footer?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I think the nerdy
what do you think they
kids
call it? The shoes?
Just the bottom of the page, because that's what I'm a cool kid, and that's what we call it.
No, that's too many words.
I don't think it's just about it. Being simple. I don't know. That's my thought. I can't think of another word. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not cool. I'm actually definitely not cool enough, and I have no idea what the kids are. Skibbity? I don't know.
Have you ever been cool?
Heard. No.
Skippity?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a thing that they say.
Your lack of riz right now is showing.
There it is. Exactly. Yes.
These are not popular words anymore even, so skippity doo.
Yeah, once we start using them,
exactly. Yeah.
They're done. Yep. They've been done. Yeah.
All right. Well, I was saying those kind of things to avoid this next particular part.
Well, it's time for our polls. We always
gotta do the results. We make up the show. We get to do whatever we want.
No, that's the whole point of the show.
Oh.
Yes. So in our last episode, we talked about the Dybbuk box.
Yeah, that I had never heard of. And also, a shout out to our book club people.
Yes.
We just read a book that actually might have subliminally suggested the Dybbuk box to me. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we read a book called A Head Full of Ghosts.
Yeah. And
on there, it talks a lot about horror, pop culture, and movies. And there was a famous in the horror world movie.
Famous movie. Yeah.
That features this Dybbuk box, and so it was mentioned and talked about. I like the book. I thought it was kind of fun and scary, but it's always fun to talk about it in book club, because once you start analyzing some of these things, you're like, well, I guess I don't know if that made sense afterwards.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and we've got another book that's we're going to be reading here soon, and I think our next book club comes up in April.
Yeah, April.
Yes,
because we want to get that in and then do one at the end of summer.
Yeah, we'll get one in the summer and then in the fall. I try to do it quarterly. So, if you're interested, there is some information out on our website, though we're going to be updating that maybe soon.
Yeah, we're still in discussion about that, but you could just message Rebecca and she can let you know how to sign up.
I'll send you some more.
But I would like to say also that the more the merrier with this, and also to one of our criteria for picking a book is it available on like Audible and stuff?
or Kindle. I mean, we're not going to pick something that we want people to be able to read in whatever format that is for them.
Yeah.
I love audiobooks, so that's there.
We do put out a link for the particular book that we get a small commission, which I've never actually seen this commission, so I don't know what it looks like.
It's somewhere.
Somebody's getting something for this.
I don't know, or it's sitting in an account somewhere, and
that we have like $1 trillion.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But no, we have a lot of fun with the book club. It's a way to interact with other listeners, with us. We go live on a Zoom and chat about the book. So yeah, and if not, you can just read along at home. And if you can't make the Zoom, that's all right. But maybe you can share your thoughts online.
One more question about the book club though, before we go on. Is this one of those wine and cheese book clubs?
No, not at all. Well, I mean, you can. I mean, I suppose you can have some wine and cheese in front of you if you'd like. But that's
because that's what most book clubs are.
Yeah,
right?
but
wine and cheese book clubs.
It is pretty much.
Yeah.
But this is not that.
This is
we really actually do talk about the books.
Yeah. All right.
Our book club, and and it's a fun, scary way to get some more stories.
Okay, I've distracted everyone enough. So we just move on from the polls. Then.
I was just going to say, you are trying to keep me from getting to the poll results. I can tell. So no, for the Dybbuk box, we have. So the question was, is it cursed? Yes. 48%.
Oh.
No, 52%.
Wow, I squeaked by there.
You did. See, you always don't want to talk about the polls, but actually lately, a lot of times you win.
I guess. But it's just because, it's just cursed items. It's like, that's, one of those kind of things. Who believes in them, right?
I do, and we certainly have one of those today.
Okay. All right. So the overall rating, people can rate it just like we rate all of our evidence and the overall story, but they just can't give a 0 because our system doesn't allow for that. 4.1 this time. So
not super low.
That's pretty much, that's right around the middle. It really reflects the yes and no percentages there.
Definitely. All right, you ready for a ghost story?
Yes, we haven't had one of those.
Story.
Wait, this is our first one of the year.
I think it is.
It is, yeah.
Because last episode there was just way too much going on.
Yeah.
That we didn't have time for it.
Sure.
But we're back.
Okay.
It's time for a spooky tale from Rebecca.
The museum was quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears and makes you feel like the slightest noise will shatter the world. I stood there, staring at it, the Hope Diamond, encased in its pristine glass, its deep blue glow like a living, breathing thing. I'd read all the stories, the curses, the misfortune that followed its owners, and maybe I should have been afraid. but I wasn't. I was fascinated. An announcement echoed over the speakers, telling visitors to make their way to the exits. It made me jump. This was my chance, I thought. A story like this could make my career. An exclusive feature on the most cursed gem in history. I waited until the guards turned their backs, then stepped closer. The glass case felt cold beneath my fingertips as I leaned in, trying to feel something. That's when it started. A low hum, faint at first, like the sound of a far-off storm. My heart raced. It wasn't coming from the speakers or the room. It was coming from the diamond. Then the lights dimmed. A chill ran down my spine as the air thickened around me, and suddenly, I wasn't in the gallery anymore. Images flashed before my eyes. Faces, oh, so many faces. A king drowning in his own riches. A thief clutching the gem as the noose tightened around his neck. A young woman crying, her tears falling onto the cursed stone. Their pain, their despair, it rushed through me like a tidal wave, leaving me gasping for air. I staggered back, clutching my head. The lights flickered, and the hum grew louder, drilling into my skull until it was all I could hear. When it stopped, I was on the floor. The gallery was silent again. I scrambled to my feet, and I ran. The next morning, I woke up with a faint blue glow on my palm. I tried everything, scrubbing, covering it, but it wouldn't fade. That week, everything just unraveled. My job? Gone, thanks to a string of bizarre accidents I couldn't explain. My bank account? Drained. My friends? They wouldn't even meet my eyes, saying I gave off this oppressed feeling. Desperate, I went back to the museum, ready to confess, to beg for forgiveness, but the guards acted like they'd never seen me. And the Hope Diamond? Gone. Just gone. Now I see the glow spreading up my arm, creeping closer to my heart. At night, I hear the hum again, louder, relentless. I know what this means. The curse didn't just touch me. It claimed me. If you find yourself staring at the Hope Diamond, drawn in like I was, don't touch it. Don't even think about it. Because once it chooses you, there's no escape.
Wow. Okay. So how much of this is based on any factual things?
Nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had never heard any of these kind of things. One interesting thing about gems in particular is they do give off like a vibration. So when you talked about the hum, that was interesting. As, you know, when I was pagan, I used to believe a lot in the power of crystals and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So, I still do.
Yeah, I don't believe in it anymore, but I did. And I believe that they, you know, mean something to the person that carries it. So maybe that can transcend into a curse. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
But we're going to find out more when we return with the pet facts.
Pats, facts. From a skeptic point of view. Pats, facts. He presents it all to you. Pats, facts, facts.
All right, we're going to get to the pet facts.
Pet facts.
So, okay, in doing pet facts, one of the things that I like to do is not have a bunch of opinions in there, right? This was difficult with this because there's a lot of like reports of these things speculated to have happened. So anytime that comes up, I do note it, you know, but everything that I don't notate, that is actually something that happened.
Pretty well
that can be
documented.
verified.
Gotcha.
Yeah. In some way or another, it can be verified. So let's talk about the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is large, right? Have you ever seen the Hope Diamond in person?
No.
Okay.
You know what?
Because it is in the Smithsonian.
And I have
right?
been to the Smithsonian, and I did look at the gems, so it's possible. I was in
obviously
eighth
you
grade.
weren't
I was
drawn
like
to it.
13 or something, so I don't know.
Okay, all right. So it's large, fancy dark grayish blue diamond. That fancy, when I say that, it's not because it's fancy the diamond itself. That's part of the color. Fancy dark. It's part of the color.
Oh, that's the name of it.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Fancy dark grayish blue diamond with a fascinating history that spans centuries and continents. Some would say that this diamond has been around since the dawn of time, maybe even because, it's not something that they created. So its size and shape have been compared to those of a pigeon's egg or a pear-shaped walnut.
Okay, yeah, walnut. That I can connect to that.
It's still pretty big. When you think of like gemstones, you don't usually picture something that big.
Well, and I think it's the combination of things, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll tell us about it, but yeah, it brings it all together.
So the blue diamond is a type of diamond. So I struggled with this because, you see like black diamonds, and I've always been fascinated with those. Black diamonds are created, right? They're not naturally occurring, I don't think.
Okay.
They take a cheaper diamond and make it black.
Interesting. Okay.
So with the blue diamond, it is something natural, okay? It's a type of diamond which exhibits all of the same inherent properties of the mineral except with the additional element of blue color in the stone. So they're colored blue by trace impurities of boron within the crystalline lattice structure. Blue diamonds belong to a subcategory of diamonds called fancy color diamonds.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
They were like, what should we call them? How about
Fancy.
fancy?
Yeah. Which actually they are more impure than regular diamonds. So if this was a regular diamond, it would be worth more. I mean, even though this is priceless, though, because of its history.
Now, is this different?
The generic name for the diamonds that exhibit intense color is blue diamond.
Is the fancy color.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is this the same as a sapphire?
No.
Okay.
Sapphire is its own stone. It's not part of the diamond family.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, it kind of looks like a sapphire, although from what I've heard 3 different descriptions of the color of this. First, I heard the fancy dark grayish blue. Then I heard that it was just dark blue, which are very similar, I guess, but it didn't have the grayish part. Then I also heard blue-green.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
So what colors we see in the world, right, are reflected upon our vision.
That's true.
They don't necessarily exist, right? So when we see something, that is our eyes putting the color on it, and it's caused from the sun rays and all this stuff.
Light.
So there's a lot of, light.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so, but it could be changed by the light color. All right, so let's talk about the origins of the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond story begins in the 17th century, probably at the Kolar mine in India. It's a specific mine that does a lot of the blue diamonds, actually.
Oh, okay. There must be something about it.
Some mineral in the baron in there. French gem merchant Jean-Baptiste Trevennier acquired a large uncut blue diamond, likely weighing around 112 carats. It is, I don't even think it's half that size anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
So just for, spoiler alert.
This was the raw part. Okay.
Yeah, and it became known as the Trevire blue or French blue diamond. Also, there's been other nicknames for it, Royal Blue and whatever. It's been, anyways. Treviere sold the Treviere Blue to King Louis XIV of France in 1668. Now, there is a lot to do with this particular transaction. People are like, did he sell it to him? Did he give it to him? What is the deal? One report suggests that he took 25 diamonds to Paris, including the large rock that became the Hope, and sold all of them to King Louis XIV. And another report suggests that in 1669, Treviere sold the large blue diamond along with approximately 1,000 other diamonds to King Louis XIV for 220,000 livres, the equivalent of 147 kilograms of pure gold, which is worth, in today's money, around $13,117,900.
Whoa.
Although, by the time you listen to this, that might change because the price of gold goes up and down.
Well, that's true.
On probably, I wrote this like an hour ago, and it's probably changed since then.
I'm sure it has. But still, 13 million plus, that's a lot.
That was what he received. Actually, there's been some sales of this diamond that were only like $65,000.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why.
All right, so we take the 112 carat rock, right?
Okay.
And then it was recut into a 67 carat stone. So that's already like half of the size, right?
Sure.
And it's known as French blue or blue diamond of the crown.
Okay.
It was set in gold and placed in a necklace that was worn by the French royalty. In fact, this is a little thing that I learned about it. The piece fell into disuse after the death of Louis XV, so his predecessor. The diamond became the property of the grandson, which is Louis XVI, whose wife, have you ever heard of her? Marie Antoinette?
I have.
Used many of the French crown jewels for personal adornment by having the individual gems placed in new settings and combinations. But the French blue remained independent, which it actually was in, except for a brief time in 1787 when the stone was removed for scientific study by Maître Jacques Brisson.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, it makes sense that they cut it down. I know that happens, right? You have the raw piece, but that's not necessarily easy to like wear as jewelry.
Well, also there's imperfections in those particular parts that make it virtually worthless.
Right.
Then. Yeah.
So it was just one of many, it sounds like, that was sold to Louis XIV. And then he's like, we're going to showcase this. So, somebody makes it into like a pendant, as you say. But it's interesting that then there was a couple generations where it was like, meh, and then Marie Antoinette's like, that thing's beautiful and I'm not even going to change it.
Maybe. We'll talk more about that. Do you use her in your evidence at all?
We will. Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to talk about more then when we get to that. Okay. Anyways, on September 11th, 1792, while Louis XVI and his family were imprisoned in the Square du Temple, we talked about that when we were talking about all the French stories that we did around the Olympics. This was during the early stages of the French Revolution's reign of terror.
Which we did talk a little bit about that then too, yeah.
There was a group of thieves that broke into the royal storehouse, the Hôtel du Garde Moubelle? I don't know. De la Corona.
This is one of those where you're like, I can't help you. I don't do French.
It's now the Hôtel de la Marine. They stole most of the crown jewels in a 5-day looting spree. While many jewels were later recovered, including other pieces of the Order of the Golden Fleece, this is part of it, the French blue was not amongst them, and it disappeared from history.
Yeah, somebody took that thing.
Yes. And so then let's talk about the reappearance and the Hope family finally. So the French blue was recut again. And now it's at 45.52 carat.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is like a third the size of what it once was.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it resurfaced in London in early 19th century. It was long believed that the Hope diamond was cut from the French blue, but confirmation came when a 3-dimensional Leiden model of the later was rediscovered in the archives of the Paris National Museum of Natural History in 2005. Previously, the dimensions of the French blue had been known only from 2 drawings made in 1749 and 1789. However, the model differs slightly from the drawings in some details. These details are identical to features of the Hope Diamond, allowing people to use CAD. Remember CAD? You know, they use that to design buildings and stuff like that. Well, they used it for this, allowing CAD technology to reconstruct the French blue around the recut stone digitally. They were able to see exactly what it is.
So then they really could know how it was cut, how much was cut, all of that. So before, they just had some reports, like people talking about it, but then they found a model, so that helped them, it sounds like. Or they just had drawings before.
They had drawings, but they believed that this was a botched cut. That's what they believed. And that's the reason why it shrunk so much.
That makes sense.
So I was wondering what happened to the rest of the blue diamond, you know? And it seems that there was not enough to warrant anything. They were fragments. So somebody might have fragments somewhere, but it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, they're kind of small. Gotcha. And it is interesting because the one thing you said was the details are identical to the features of the Hope Diamond.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, that's how you know that it was from this diamond as opposed to this drawing, as opposed to like some other diamond or something. You know?
So, if you go looking for a diamond, even nowadays, even small diamonds, they have like precise measurements and everything like that for that particular diamond. And they can tell by the cut, the clarity. There's other things they can tell by, but that's what they go by.
Yeah.
And obviously this was documented well enough because it has been used in scientific research, actually.
Right. Okay.
And it's funny because if you take an ultraviolet light to the Hope Diamond, it is no longer blue. It becomes red.
Red. Oh, that was not where I thought you were going.
I don't know why they've done this, and I don't know what they expected it to be, and I don't know why that's shocking, but it turns from blue to red.
Okay.
So maybe it has something to do with Superman or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. So this diamond was acquired by Henry Philip Hope, a wealthy British banker and gem collector, giving the diamond its current name. It stayed in the Hope family for several generations, but then they ran into some financial difficulties when one of them died, and it led to its sale in 1901. There was nothing more that they could do at that point. They were wealthy bankers, though, at some point. In fact, like the Henry family bank corporation is well known throughout the world, but they ran out of money in around that time. Over the next few decades, the diamond passed through the hands of various owners, including Simon Frankel, a diamond merchant, Pierre Cartier. That one I know. Cartier. He was a famous jeweler. Evelyn Walsh McLean, who was a Washington, D.C. socialite. So much so with her, really interesting story. She used to let her dog wear it in the house.
We are going to talk about her, and I did hear that. Yes.
And she was never seen without it, though, outside the house. To her dying day. Yeah, from the time she acquired it. But if you're going to spend that much money for the Hope Diamond, this diamond has a name that's familiar around the world. You're going to wear it every friggin' day.
Absolutely.
You know? All right, stories of a curse then was associated with the diamond, and it began to circulate with the tales of misfortune and tragedy befalling its owners. And I'm sure Rebecca will tell us more. So that's around the time Evelyn Walsh McLean died. And in 1949, a renowned New York jeweler, which Harry Winston, he got the diamond and he had it for a little while, and but then he donated it to the Smithsonian Institute. He made money on it, though. He had it showcased before that and realized there was a lot of people coming and that he can get a really nice tax write-off by donating it. So he did. Also, too, do you really want to possess this thing for, I mean, I'm not even talking about the curse, but like the only thing that can happen to it, you can make some money, but it can also get stolen and then it stops making money for you then, right?
Sure.
So get rid of it and use the tax write-off. So Smithsonian got it in 1958. It's been permanently displayed there ever since in the National Museum of Natural History. So in addition to its historical significance, the Hope Diamond is also valuable for scientific research. It is one of the largest known blue diamonds and has provided insights into the formation of diamonds deep within the earth. In fact, it's one of the largest diamonds that we have. There is a regular diamond that is larger, But this is one of the largest, I would say. Today, the Hope Diamond remains one of the most famous and popular attractions at the Smithsonian. I don't know about that, but captivating captivating visitors within its beauty, history, and the enduring mystery of its alleged curse. I would say Archie Bunker's chair is probably gets more people in.
I don't know about that. One of my favorite displays.
You saw Archie Bunker's chair, though, right?
I don't think so. I don't remember that being there. But the First Lady exhibit of their dresses.
Oh,
is
yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah. So do you have anything to add to this history?
No, it did a great job. I mean, there's a lot of owners and things in there where things are a little fuzzier. We don't necessarily, like you said, things are not always super documented. So, and also just maybe small time things. But I think as we get closer to more recent history, we have a better understanding.
And the way that I do research on this is I hardly ever look up what's cursed to come up with something ahead of time. Mm-hmm. There's only one thing that I kind of found out stumbling upon and I'm going to use, but I'm not going to use it right now. So you're going to have to stick around and find out what that is right after the break. All right, so Rebecca, we are here to debate, but before we do that, what are the teams that are going for the Super Bowl currently?
Okay.
There's four teams as of today, but by the time you hear it, there's only going to be 2 teams.
Now, you just mentioned 2 to me, so can I say those that I would not have been able to tell you that?
Yeah.
The Eagles and the Commanders.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they are playing as we're recording on Sunday, the 26th at 2:45.
Okay. And then I'm pretty sure the Chiefs.
Yes. Okay. You need one more team.
I don't know. Can you give me a location or like a region of the United States?
Yes, it is northeast.
Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's one of the
Steelers?
One of the 13 colonies. I will say that.
Oh, okay. Not the Patriots, though. I don't think they've been in it for a long time.
No, but it is one of the new places. New place. New, like the Jets. No.
Oh,
no. It is Buffalo.
Oh, Buffalo. That's cool. They probably. I don't feel like they've been in anything for a while.
Yeah.
No, I mean, not that I would necessarily. I mean, I care sort of about football, but also not. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, just wanted Rebecca to recap what's going on in the world today.
Go.
So
okay.
I know she has a lot of history and stuff like that she knows of, and a lot of sport facts.
Yeah, a lot of sports ball facts. Yes. Okay, so let's get into some of the curses here. Now, as I mentioned, there's a the thing about curses is that we've talked about this before. Part of it is it's not always just like the one thing and the one person. It's the build up, right, of the things. So I picked a few of the most popular stories about that are associated with this diamond, though supposedly there are many, many more.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to actually start
I actually heard 14 people that this corresponds to. So anyways, you're
Yeah.
only going to give us a few of those.
Yeah, we're gonna go with the top
Okay.
5 here.
Yeah.
So this is so Tavernier Blue, right? We talked about.
Which, by the way, it's Tavernier, actually, I think. I think it's got an sound at the end of it, because that's what I heard in a video.
Oh, well, we'll go with
and
that.
I'm like, how does it have an sound? These French, and I don't understand how they pronounce it that way. I want to know.
Yeah.
And I want to know how it's not Jean.
Oh, yeah. Jean
Yeah.
Baptiste.
Okay. Anyways, go ahead. I'm
so
sorry.
That's okay. So it wasn't technically the Hope Diamond, right? At this
no.
point, as you say, like this is the uncut. This is.
How about this? It had the Hope Diamond in it.
There it is. So now this is where we get a little bit into the, apocryphal story. I'm not sure, but allegedly he stole the blue diamond from a Hindu statue.
I heard that.
Where it was serving as one of his eyes.
Yeah.
And upon discovering it was missing, the priest, and I'm assuming it's not priest like Catholic priests, but the religious
Hindu.
people, Hindu, put a curse on whoever was in possession of the stone.
Yes.
And it is said that eventually he came down with a raging fever soon after stealing the diamond and died, but not before his body was mauled by dogs.
All right. So, first of all, he died an old man, by the way. He did not die. Like, you're making it seem like he was really young at the time. But, second, there is just as many reports that he bought it and there's also reports that it wasn't even in like a Hindu statue. It was in a jeweler's possession, and he bought it amongst other diamonds as well. So I don't know which report to take, and I don't know what to say because he's an old man. I mean, yeah, okay. This is going to happen a lot in this episode, and I just want to go on the record right now. If you take any item that is as old as this and you trace its lineage, right, you're going to see a lot of misfortune fall upon those people because every one of them, besides current owner right now, Smithsonian, is dead.
Well, it's not even necessarily always about the fact that they die, right? Like sometimes it is that, but it's the tragedy around it, right?
Yeah.
So the idea that that his body was supposedly mauled by dogs.
Well, there's two different ways to die. That is fast and slow. And I know it seems
well, he
really
had a
simple.
fever. The dogs didn't kill him.
Yeah.
But there's
fever for what? More cowbell? Anyways, there's two different ways to die, fast and slow. Not saying that, whatever. I am just saying that we are not used to the fact that people used to die the fast route. They used to get something and die instantly or die within a week or whatever. We are more used to slow death now, which 80% of our listeners at some point, unfortunately, we're going to die of a slow death.
I thought you were going to say only 80% of our listeners are going to die. And I was like,
no.
20% are going to make it?
No, this is a statistic from a book called Outlive.
So
anyways.
Pat bringing you down today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're all going to die, right?
I mean, that's true, but it doesn't. Okay. Again,
so anyways.
It's about the conglomeration.
Yes. Okay. Yes. People die horribly. Any death is horrible, but people died horribly before, and that's true. But that doesn't mean that it has anything to do with a curse. And also, too, there's plenty of other items that he had that could have been cursed.
Well, that's true. But I think, again, it's because what happens going forward, right?
Okay.
So we do know that he owned it. I mean, again, anything that this is the 1600s, so again, records are definitely a little sparser, right? But it's the most famous. This is supposedly where the curse starts, right? We start with him.
Yeah.
We don't start with the people that put it in the statue, or if we go with your version, with the jeweler that had it.
Yeah.
Right. It's like it, but it starts with this guy somehow. Something
But
about that.
One more stat.
Yeah.
Most people, the leading cause of death in that year was fever.
Was diamonds?
No, it was fever.
Yeah, but they weren't all mold by
Diamond
dogs.
fevers.
Diamond
No,
fever.
they had fever. Fevers was the leading cause of death. So
Yeah.
they weren't mauled by dogs, but he was dead already.
All right, let's move on to the next
Oh,
one.
wait, no.
Oh, I'm
0.
sorry. We got to rate it. You got
Yeah.
0. I'm going to give it 6 just because I don't, it's the start of something,
Oh, is it
but it's
though?
old,
Okay. All right.
All right. So we're going to come back to the royalty.
Okay.
Okay. The next one we're going to go to is we're going to zoom ahead. We're going to go to 1894.
Okay.
So American musical theater actress Mae Yohe married Lord Francis Hope, heir to the Hope fortune,
Okay.
and possessed the Hope diamond.
Mhm.
She divorced Lord Hope 8 years later, followed by a string of failed marriages with handsome adventurers. Now, I'm not sure about that part, but she couldn't stay married.
Okay.
And she was a performer.
Mhm.
Again, she was an actress, so
Yep.
she performed in London's West End,
Mhm.
Music Hall, and in vaudeville in the U.S. as
Okay.
well. But she suffered a lot of frequent financial woes and died penniless. So I don't know that she kept the Hope diamond after getting divorced, but basically it was like if you once wore it, life wasn't so great after. And she's
So-
going to come back up in a little bit, but we're going to talk. This is her story as of now.
So I don't think that she owned it after the divorce.
No, I don't think so.
But anyway, so she touched it,
Mhm.
maybe.
Right.
So I'm going to say that, unfortunately, during this particular period of time, which I know pretty well because I like to study the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago, France was actually the World's Fair before that. And that's what we wanted to beat and stuff like that. So I know about the time periods, and a lot of people had financial problems during this time. It's actually another period that was considered a depression. So I'm going to say that, she died penniless. I feel bad for her, but a lot of people die penniless, Rebecca.
But again, we're accumulating. We're accumulating stories with
Yeah.
the diamond.
Louis Sullivan, famous architect in Chicago, created a lot of the buildings that make up Chicago today. He died penniless.
Yeah, well, but that's
Did he have the Hope
architecture.
diamond?
Architects are not back in the day. I mean, now we may recognize them as something, but now
And
back then, they
well,
weren't
he died
necessarily
penniless
always.
too. So, and that's
Yeah,
a very
but
famous
the
person.
difference is she wasn't penniless though, right?
He wasn't
Like,
penniless at one time. He was actually very famous, and he made a lot of money. MC Hammer made a lot of money and then lost it all, and then now he's regained money.
well, there you go.
So anybody, this can happen. If it can
She
happen to
felt-
MC Hammer, this can happen to anybody. Gary Coleman didn't have any money. He was working as a security guard.
Again, we can talk about what curse happened to them. We're talking about this lady and her curse after what happened after she wore the diamond.
All right.
All right. So, what's your rating?
Oh, probably a 10. No, 0, 0, obviously. Come on.
All right, I'm giving this one. I'm going to give this one a 7.
Yes.
All right.
7.
Now,
Okay. That's really high.
here we go.
All right.
So the next one we're going to talk about is Evelyn Walsh McLean.
Yes.
You mentioned
The dog one.
the dog one, right?
Yeah.
So she was a rich heiress,
Mm-hmm.
and she bought the Hope diamond from Cartier
Yeah.
in 1912.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think she's the one that bought it for really cheap too.
Yeah, I think it was 180,000, which was still pretty. That's like $5 million.
I think the one
today.
that bought it after her then bought it for like $65,000.
Yeah.
Which was, anyways.
Yeah.
But in the 1940s and stuff like that, that was a lot of money.
Well, this is 1912.
Yeah,
so, even before that.
Yeah.
So there's stories that she as you said, put the diamond on a dog's collar.
Mm-hmm.
Her ill fate began when her mother-in-law died.
Mm-hmm.
Her son died at the age of 9.
Yeah, he did.
Her husband left her for another woman and later died in a psychiatric hospital. Her daughter died of a drug overdose, and Evelyn eventually had to sell her newspaper, which was the Washington Post.
Oh.
She died owing huge...
That's sad. I hate when these rich people have to sell their newspapers and their jets and stuff
I
like
know,
that. It's so sad.
so sad.
It's so sad.
And she died owing huge debts.
A lot of rich people do.
Yeah. Evelyn's surviving children sold the diamond to another jeweler you mentioned, right, in 1949. Now, a couple things to mention, right? So she told Cartier that, the diamond needed to be blessed by the church before she would buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of this is Cartier told her a lot of the stories about it being cursed.
Yes.
Also, May Yoe, or Yo, whichever, that we just talked about, publicly warned her off the diamond in a shocking newspaper article.
Oh, okay.
So again, she's like, all right, you're telling me all these people that have owned it have died, Cartier, yet you want to sell it to me, because he was trying to woo her. But then also, the woman who previously had worn it and had all this stuff happen to her put out a newspaper article like, this thing is bad, don't buy it.
By the way, people, newspapers is how people used to get news and stuff.
Yes, it was a common thing.
I talked to someone the other day about buying a newspaper. I was like, I was going to buy a newspaper for this show I'm doing. And it's like, where do you go for newspapers nowadays? They're actually not as easy to get as they once were.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
true.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you think.
Yeah.
So in the church, the diamond was placed on a velvet cushion, awaiting a blessing.
Yeah.
Just as Russell Monsignor was about to bless it, lightning pierced the sky and thunder shook the building's foundation. McLean took it as a sign of good luck.
Oh, yeah. Like if it rains in your wedding.
She was like, done. This is awesome. Blessed. The Lord or whoever put their blessing on this thing. She wore the diamond as her lucky charm.
Yeah.
But as we heard, all the bad things then happened to her. Children dying and husband leaving her, losing money, all of the bad.
Yeah. Well, if you look at a lot of the super wealthy people in the world that have ever existed, you're going to find a lot of tragedy. And you're going to find them oftentimes in a lot of debt when they die, too. I'm going to say that this is not something that is crazy. Although what you didn't say there is that it's now set in an oval frame surrounded by smaller diamonds, which the smaller diamonds are still attached to the Hope diamond now, I believe.
Okay. I didn't know if you had talked. I couldn't remember if you had talked about that.
No,
already.
I didn't talk about it, but you had it in your notes here. But so anyways, I'm going to say that the lightning striking the thing, I think this is a gross exaggeration of events. I believe it didn't happen the way that you're saying that it did. And if so, there should be plenty of newspaper articles, and especially since the Washington Post, I mean, there should be a lot.
I mean, I think there is documentation of her saying, like, I think this was lucky, like,
but
this
not
happened.
to this degree, though. Not to the degree that you're saying that that lightning pierced the sky and thunder shook the building's foundation.
Well, I mean, there could have I think there was a storm that happened.
Yes, I'm sure there was. Happening. And lightning hits things all the time, and they have lightning rods too in a lot of these buildings, and I believe this church probably did, and it probably didn't cause any damage or do anything, and the priest did bless the thing, so you would think curse over. Yeah,
but no.
So what are you saying, that the Catholic Church can't remove curses?
And I guess not for this, especially when here's the thing. Eventually this Winston guy is like, I'm just going to donate this thing, right? And take a tax write-off
All
on
right.
it. But, this is a point in this diamond's life where it's been realized, that there's an issue. All right. So my rating for this one is an 8.
8.
This is to me, like, seriously, could you imagine you got this guy, he's trying to like woo you, he's trying to like sell you this diamond, whatever, but he's like, but it's cursed. And you're like, ooh. And then someone literally puts out an ad in the newspaper, like, don't do this. This thing is bad. My life has been awful ever since I wore it. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to get it blessed. You think it works. And then your life goes to the worst.
So interesting thing about this too is that there is also a theory that the curse is all made up and it was used just to promote the diamond and make it sell for more money. Everybody wants a cursed item like this, and it gave the item a world-renowned history and world-renowned mystique to it that people paid extra money for. They paid money for a curse, like the Dybbuk box. So I'm going to have to go 0 on this one because this all seems in line with what could happen to a wealthy person in 1912. It could happen to a wealthy person
But
today.
not every wealthy person.
And not everybody had a tragedy that happened to them after owning the Hope Diamond. So what are we saying about these people? Are
Maybe
we
some
saying?
people were better humans. And
So maybe
the
it's not
curse.
the item that's cursed. Maybe it's the humans that are cursed. And maybe it has nothing to do with this
But
diamond.
this energy of the diamond.
But this debate is about the diamond itself, not about the people.
No,
so,
I'm saying the diamond is what channeled that energy into badness.
So it knows if you're good or bad. It knows if you're sleeping.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I just know.
Does it have a list? Is it checking it twice, Rebecca? Come on. This is
Listen,
ridiculous.
it's-
0, 0, 0.
All right. We're talking hundreds of years, right? All right. We got a couple more here.
Okay.
So next, 1958, I think this is the last known death associated with the diamond, is James Todd.
Mm-hmm.
So no harm seemed to come to Winston,
Mhm.
right? But the mailman who delivered the diamond to the Smithsonian apparently had a truck accident shortly right after. He suffered a head injury in another accident, and his house burned down. So I guess I should say, I don't know if he died, because I don't think he died from the accidents, but like the latest to have bad stuff happen to him right after handling the diamond.
And there's no way that this person could have had bad luck that just happened to him.
I mean, yes, except again, we're talking about this is why that's going to always be your point. My point is when it comes to a curse is going to be right.
Well,
but when you
yeah.
add it all together.
But okay, then every single person that it touched, any single person that laid eyes on this diamond should have something go wrong with them. And it's not true. It's just not true. This is not something.
Well, here's what is, sometimes maybe this is where we don't know all the people, right? There were a lot of years where it was not there. So maybe they just had some minor things, maybe enough things that they moved
maybe
it on.
nothing.
It doesn't always kill people.
Maybe nothing. And yeah, it doesn't always do the same thing. This could be anything. This could be anything. This could be lead paint in a house. It could be anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is what you're saying.
Add it
is.
all up.
No, 0.
0.
Sorry.
All right. I'm going to give that one I'm going to give it a 7.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the last thing we'll talk about today, which is the French aristocracy. And I put it last because this one I think is a little harder to decide, but I think it's interesting. So we had Louis the 16th and Marie Antoinette that inherit this thing, right? And after Louis the 16th dies, after Louis the 14th dies, right? Eventually they get the French blue diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Louis the 16th was guillotined, as we know, during the Revolution, and his wife met the same fate 9 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And some say that their deaths were the result of the Hope Diamond's curse.
Mm.
Now, that's one thing. But then there's also her friend, Marie Antoinette's friend, Marie Louise, who was the Princess of Lamballe. And she was a member of her court and was her closest friend. And she actually wore the diamond at one point and died herself.
Yeah. So
I don't know how she died, but she died.
By the way, this is all false. This is all false information, just so everyone's aware.
Well, we know that they owned it.
I know, but actually, the funny thing is King Louis the 14th or 16th or 14th.
14th was the first one.
16th. And Marie Antoinette had very little to do with the Hope Diamond. In fact,
you told us
Marie, I know. That's why I made a statement after the fact. Marie Antoinette never wore the diamond at all, never touched the diamond, because it was only for kings. So this friend would not have worn it either. And Louis the 16th never really had much to do with it at all either. So even though they inherited it, it wasn't even in their house.
No, it was in with the jewels.
Yeah, it was in the Hotel de la whatever. It's anyways, it was in some hotel. Okay, which was a museum. But I'm just saying they never housed the diamond. They never really touched the diamond. In fact, they chose not to do anything with this diamond. They chose to do things with the other diamonds, and not this one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was already on a pendant. It stayed on a pendant after that. It never changed. And there is historians that will say that they did not have anything to do with this diamond. So,
I mean, I don't know if we can know for sure, if they ever looked at it, touched it, whatever. But I will say,
Marie Antoinette definitely didn't have anything to do with it because it was just for kings.
So
it would have been like sacrilegious for her.
Right. Well, I know eventually it shows up in London with a king.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
King George the Fourth or something.
And he also went bankrupt, so had to sell it.
Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah. But I was just gonna say, but to me, I feel like this one is a bit weak because like to say that it caused the French Revolution and them getting killed, that does seem pretty extreme.
Did it cause the French Revolution, though? That is a totally different question. Maybe because of the value of the supposed diamond.
Well,
there is reports that people actually. So there was a 5-day riot that happened with looting. And within the 5 days, somebody got it. Then now there's conflicting reports on who it was. And there's conflicting reports on why. Some people say the French Revolution might have been started because of this particular diamond, because they wanted to get their hands on this diamond.
Oh, I did not.
There was already problems, but they might have made the timing more precise to the diamond.
Because people went in and then they're like, this is what they have. And then they were just
They went to the Hotel de la whatever. And they might have just
Pat's convincing me about this.
They might have said to themselves, I'm just like playing devil's advocate here, but they might have said, you know what, we are broke and look at them. And that's all the French Revolutionary War was fought because of that, because of the aristocrats having so much money.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So anyways.
Hey, all right. So now I'm changing my mind. I'm going 4.
Yeah, I'm going 0. As always, this one is just ridiculous because just because there's a famous name doesn't mean that they really had anything to do with it. So anyways, what is your overall rating then, Rebecca?
All right. So my overall rating for this one is going to be a 7. Again, there's a long line of people getting hurt, and I just, to me, we'll talk about it, but I'm giving it a 7. How about for you?
This is a hard one. I'm going to have to go 0 on this one as well. I don't, the curses are really hard to prove unless the same exact thing happens to every single person. So let's say everybody that got the diamond ended up getting beheaded like Marie Antoinette. I would say, wow, there's something to that then. It's like there's been 30 people that were beheaded.
The big thing is they pretty much all lost money. Like that, like some of them lost their lives, but almost all of them lost money.
Okay. Everybody loses money.
Well, no, not everybody.
Yeah. They do eventually. You can't take it with you, right?
Well, I'm not talking about that.
I am. That's convenient not to talk about
Well,
that.
no,
but
I'm saying that these people lost their money when they were alive.
Okay, but I am saying that happened often in our history. There's a lot of things, especially someone that would invest money in a diamond, in a Hope diamond.
That's a good investment.
No, it's not. It's a horrible investment. The quality's not even that great. It's blue because it's impure.
Well, but what do I want to say? It's in the eye of the beholder, right? If we find that this imperfection is actually we enjoy it more, then it means more.
Well, let's take this to the closing argument.
Okay.
Then. So this is our last chance to convince you to vote our way. We are each given 1 minute of uninterrupted time. What is different this season, though? This is our first closing argument of the new year.
Yes,
because we didn't do one in the Debic episode because Ghostly has purchased a timer to hang up in our studio.
When we say Ghostly, we mean Pat.
Yeah, Pat purchased a timer because there has been all of this allegations that are going around that Rebecca cheats at the time.
Yeah, who's the one with the allegations? That would be you.
You did cheat once.
I never cheated. I may have accidentally gone over, but I did not cheat.
Actually, you were called out and still continued after that fact. You were like, nope, I'm not stopping. And that was once in our 157 episode history. So because of that, unfortunately, and to make things just more fair, we're about making fair, right? So we have a new timer that will time us, and we no longer will time each other. Because oftentimes, too, it could be that I'm not showing you the time all the time, so you don't know until, the last 5 seconds or something.
Sure.
That didn't happen, but it could have, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So we have a timer. It's on our wall in the Ghostly studio.
Okay.
Everybody can see it. So
yeah. Well, now if you want to see a picture of it, Pat did post a picture and Ghostly Society, which is our Facebook group. So if you're not on the Facebook group, definitely go join that.
So far, there's been a lot of people agreeing that you have cheated. At the time, so.
They just like the photo. That says nothing about whether or not they agree that I cheated. Now the other thing is, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to hear it, but it will count down. So there'll be a warning.
So the last 3 seconds, it'll make a noise.
All right.
Don't
Rebecca,
get scared. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, and go.
All right. So the Hope Diamond Curse, right? This is one. It's famous. It's been around a long time, and part of that is because of the stories. It's one of those things that's been around a long time. And ever since, we really started recording it, people have had bad things happen to them, whether it's death or losing money, losing family. And I think, when you think of something this big and worth this much money, you would think it would have only had a few owners, right? I mean, how often would people be selling this? I mean, man, you'd want to keep it. You want to wear it. So why is it then that somehow magically, these kids inherit this thing and they're like, nope, not me, sending it on to the next person, right? And it's happened over and over and over and over again. So to me, that says that there is something there. People don't like it. They feel it's weird. It's cursed. Done.
All right, that
on
was
the
the
bell.
timer
I
on
don't
the
know
bell.
if you guys heard that, but I hope you did.
All right.
There you
Mine will not be dinging because I'll be done way before the minute. So
no dinging, you'll be done.
yeah, I'll be done before the ding. All right. I am ready. Are you going to ask me that?
Oh, sure. Yes. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. And I'm going to hit the button.
Okay.
So, Pat, go. All right. So I started the timer. I just want everyone to know that I started it, and
it's going.
It's going right now, and you're interrupting me. So this is part of my time. So Rebecca has got to cheat all the time at this. I'm just joking about that. So please, you don't need to yell at me. I am joking. Rebecca doesn't cheat often. So anyways, I really love our new timer. It is red and green, and it looks like Christmas, but it works. So anyways, Hope Diamond. Is it cursed? I don't know, because there's not enough evidence here that supports an idea that it's cursed. There's not enough saying that there is any particular thing that happens. Again, if it was all beheaded at the same time or died the same way of the whooping cough, I would even say, okay, we have something, but it's not. So that's it.
Wow.
And I had 6 seconds left.
6 seconds left. All right.
Yeah. So don't let your friends miss out on the chills. Share Ghostly with them and help us grow this community of paranormal enthusiasts. Your support means the world to us.
Go vote.
Shout out. Yeah, absolutely. Go vote at ghostlypodcast.com and click on polls, or go to ghostlypodcast.com/polls.
There you go.
Or you can just like us on social media, and we post on there anytime a new episode comes out.
Absolutely.
Shout out to our VIP producers who make this all possible. We have the newcomer, Travis,
Yay. Andrew,
Alicia,
Becky,
Cindy,
Kevin,
Jessica,
Alice,
Aaron.
and Hope.
Is it real? You be the judge. Share your verdict at ghostlypodcast.com poll section and let the debate continue. Subscribe to Ghostly now and get ready for more spine-tingling encounters with the unknown.
On the next episode of Ghostly, we're going to be talking about Busby's Stoop chair. It's a haunted chair, cursed chair.
Wow.
And it's going to come out on February 12th.
I used to have one of those at the last job that I had, that every time I would sit on it, it would fall to the ground.
Oh, no.
And my knees would hurt because it
Oh.
went down so low.
Oh.
And people would laugh.
Actually, I was just in a group meeting, you know,
Uh-huh.
it was like, we're like 12 of us or whatever it was. And some of the chairs were broken like that, where like you'd be sitting there and all of a sudden somebody would be like slowly going down.
Well, we used to joke that where I worked was the land of the cursed chairs. Because they were all like that. So it's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
misfit toys. It was the cursed chairs.
Well, I
All
think
right.
we're going to be a little more complicated than that for this next one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. And no jokes next time, okay, guys? Until next time, stay ghostly.
Bye.